Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 15th episode of the Aussie Show, presented by the BJ Show. Welcome to the 15th episode of the Aussie Footage Show presented by the BJ Show. We're going to go straight through all in one. So let's get straight into it. So round 11. So, wow, the second week of the Sir Doug Nicholls round, Indigenous round. And we've got so many games to share with you all. Let's get straight into it. The first game is in Geelong, which is played at GMHBA Stadium in Geelong. We have the sexy Geelong Cats taking the Western Bulldogs. What a game this was. This was anyone's to win. I went with Geelong, sexy Geelong Cats. Both Geelong and Western Bulldogs were coming off big wins. And then, well, I've got to say, Western Bulldogs did come down to Geelong, knew it was going to be a test and they want to win. It was high scoring for both teams, which is also good. Geelong just knew they're going to come back and win, and they're going to win back. We do come to the final score now. Before I get to that part, Western Bulldogs had chances to win this game. And, the crowd attendance 32,641 packed at GMHBA Stadium for Thursday night football. And the final score, as I mentioned, again back to that now, 27-120, defeated 16-17, 113. So, making this nice and short, look, it was a great effort for Western Bulldogs, scoring more accuracy. If they keep more absolute accuracy, I think there was a lot of rush behinds for Geelong, and Geelong had a really good defence. So knew that the Western Bulldogs were going to come in well and strong, and they'll take on Bailey Smith. It's going to be really quite heated. I think Geelong just knew they needed to keep winning, and they don't want to get another loss. And against a team like Western Bulldogs, have won down there, and like the Giants, GWS, and don't want to do that. So the 32,000 pack for the Geelong supporters will enjoy this moment. But now it's the player of the game. Max Hines includes 117 AFL fantasy, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 1 goal, 81% of defensive half, 19% of forward half, 33 disposals, 7 score involvements, and a 512 metres game. Well done, Max Holmes, on your game performance. So this is the most important time for the BJ Show podcast, and this is another 10th year of the Indigenous round. And well done to those who have supported all the welcome into the Indigenous. I will share the welcome to country, and I do have a favourite one. There's always, everyone is a favourite, but we do come to Dream Time at the G on the Friday night. So what's Dream Time? It's about the Indigenous, and it's about the culture about this competition, the AFL. The Essendon Bombers and the Richmond Tigers, the most important round in the Australian footy calendar in Australia, the Indigenous round, and for the Sir Doug Nicholls. And we did have some magic moments. And what a game down in Geelong, high scoring. Can we see that game? We shared the 76,051 Pat DG MCG, which is great. This is okay. The last time these two met was round 11, 2024, Essendon taking a 12-point win in the Sir Doug Nicholls round. This could be one of the best traditional rivals in a long time. That Essendon, that's it. I said it. They took the win. Enjoy the moment. It's very scrappy, but footy, you move on next week. But the final score, 11-15-81, 8-10-58, Richmond. Both teams started slowly down after quarter time. Essendon just took control for 3 quarters. Richmond had their moments in the game, but wasn't enough. Well done, Essendon on the win. Was a horrible loss against the Western Bulldogs, and it was showing that Essendon can bounce back. Richmond just needs to continue on their rebuild. They do play the GWS Giants on the road. Will be a massive test. Yes, they mix out with Lynch and Curvis. There's massive out for the Tigers and the Bombers. This was something that hopefully that Curvis does come back with Lynch and concussion, but should be good. Essendon take on Brisbane should be another good test for Essendon. You never know what Essendon can do. They can done badly, then they'll perform really well. So play well next week for Richmond against the Giants, and the Bombers against the Lions. They take to Brisbane at the Gather. So I do now come part of the game. I'm going to do something a little bit special here on the BJ Show. I'm going to do a free bet on ground, the first up is Richmond Tigers. Sam Banks includes 129 disposals, 8 marks, 2 tackles, 110 for fantasy, 92 defensive half, 8% off forward half, 20 uncontested possessions, 3 score involvements, and a 608 metres game. Well done on your game performance, Sam Banks from Richmond. Next up, we have, I'm going to give it to the second best on ground, it's Zach Merritt from the Essendon captain. 37 disposals, 8 marks, 7 tackles, 149 for fantasy, 59% in the defensive half, 41% in the forward half, 30 uncontested possessions, 9 score involvements, and a 619 metres game. Well done on your game performance from the captain, Essendon midfield star, Zach Merritt. Okie dokie. Now we come to the third. It is Nick Martin from Essendon from the midfielder. Well done. Or even defender. Will this include 35 disposals, 9 marks, 8 tackles, 2 tackles, 166 for fantasy with a 57% forward half, 43% in the forward half, 10 score involvements, and a 666 metres game. Well done on your game performance from Nick Martin from the Essendon Star. Well done to all the players I have chosen, those top 3 for this very important game. Now we go into continue on for this round 11 reviews, and let's get into Super Saturday footy, and we have 4 games to share. The first one's the Carlton Blues and the Indigenous Giants at Marble Stadium. Then we go across from Marble Stadium to the MCG for Hawthorn Hawk, the Tug Brisbane Lions, and then we come to the double header of the Saturday night Super Football back at Marble Stadium for the North Melbourne and Collingwood Magpies, and then finish off for Super Saturday footy. We have the heading to the west for Fremantle and Port Adelaide. Alright, Carlton and Indigenous Giants, which we share first. Congratulations to Toby Green from the Indigenous Giants forward star playing his 200 game, which the crowd attendance for this game was 36,468 packed at Marble Stadium, which is good for Carlton home game, but that's okay. Do share the final scores: 17 goals, 8, 110, the 12 10 82. Big winners for GWS, and they needed the win to keep in themselves. They needed that win to keep themselves in that top 8, and they did it. Back on the winning list once again. Carlton, they did start well, and after quarter time, GWS Giants totally took over the rest of the game. Making this as short reviews and thoughts, I'm just going to get straight into the play of the game. Look, Toby Green, GWS Giants star, 200 games, including 133 for fantasy, a 28 disposal, 3 goals, 9 marks, 4 tackles, 40% in the defensive half, 60% before, 60% in the forward half, 13 score involvements, and a 565 metres game. Well done to the 200 game star Toby Green. Boom! GWS Giants forward star. We come to the second game. Now we head into the MCG. For Super Saturday footy, we have the Hawthorn and the Brisbane. And for wet football, let's begin with the views and thoughts. We're starting with Hawthorn. Well done. Good start. Then I'll share the crowd attendance of 57,919 packed the MCG, which is okay. Let's get into this game. So, Hawthorn did start well. They can play full quarters of football. I have seen it. Especially this season, they have proven for Sam Mitchell they know how good Hawthorn can be. But Brisbane, my goodness, better. Back on the winning list again. From that loss against the Demons, from the draw against North Melbourne, the loss at home against the Demons, Melbourne Demons. Now back on the road. I knew this was going to be a bounce back, and they take the win. Well done to Brisbane on the win. Well done, and it was all the second half to take it as well. Well, making it short and sharp, if you have not yet to see the final score, I'm going to share it right now. So here we go. Yeah, this. Well done. A big win to Brisbane. They want to get back. Accuracy works for them, and they did it perfectly in the second half. We come to the part of the game, and this person played dominate for the Lions as well. Clayton Archie from Brisbane, including 20 disposals, 10 marks, 4 goals, 112 for fantasy, 32% in the defensive half, 68% in the forward half, 8 score involvements, and a 317 metres game. Well done to Clayton Archie from the Brisbane Lions forward star. We got the double header for Saturday night footy for Super Football, and that's it. The first one will return back at Marble Stadium for North Melbourne and Collingwood, and the West we got the Fremantle and the Port Adelaide as well. So first up, let's go to North Melbourne and Collingwood. The crowd attendance was 40,466, which is a good crowd. North Melbourne started slowly in the first quarter, then the second quarter was a good quarter, then it led all half time for North Melbourne. Collingwood didn't have a great first half. That happened, but they spoke at half time, let North Melbourne do their style of football which they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Then Collingwood just took over the second half, all over red over, and there you have it. The final score 15 goals, 18, 108, defeated 99-63, heads high North Melbourne, bounce back next week. Great effort, well done to Collingwood with the win. We come to the player of the game, which I'm going to give it to Ned Long from Collingwood. Include 132 AFL Fantasy, 29 disposals, 2 marks, 14 tackles, 50% defensive, 50% in the forward half, 2 goal assists, 15 score involvements, and a 344 metres game. Well done to Ned Long from the Collingwood midfield star. Time to head to the west for the Fremantle take on Port Adelaide. With the crowd attendance 40,466, packed at Optus Stadium. Can we see a better performance from Port Adelaide, or is it going to be a good test for Port Adelaide where they are? Or is Fremantle just play very strong at home? Let's get into it. So the final score 15-100, 79-51 to Port Adelaide. Big win by Fremantle. Continue from that big win against GWS Giants on the road, back at home, and they did it perfectly. Port Adelaide a bit better, but you need to get better, get back on the track, find out what you need to do better as well. The player of the game is Luke Jackson from Fremantle, 21 disposals, 1 mark, 2 tackles, 1 goal, and 106 AFL Fantasy, 37% in the defensive half, 63% in the forward half, 1 goal assist. We're not sure about how much scoring involvement with 194 metres game. Well done on your game performance, Luke Jackson from Fremantle. For Super Saturday football, we done that Sunday Super Ticket football. We got 3 games to share with you all, and you're invited to share this here on the BJ Show. We head to the Adelaide Oval for the LA Crows and West Coast, then the MCG for the Melbourne Demons and Sydney Swans, and the final game from the cross from the MCG to Marble, we have St Kilda take on Gold Coast. Make this short and sweet. Adelaide Crows West Coast was an alright crowd, 39,271. What a great half by West Coast. Did it all. Third quarter, fourth quarter, all Adelaide, 7 goals to 1 in the third, and that ends the game. This was a much improved from West Coast. They keep improving. You're going to get better with the LA Crows. Another win on the bank, so enjoy that as well. Adelaide take on Sydney in Sydney at the SCG on a Saturday night, which should be a good game to watch. As well, West Coast take on the Sydney Geelong Cats at home. Will be a good test for West Coast at home and should be a good crowd at Optus Stadium. Well, making this short, we come to the play of the game. We do come to the play of the game. Josh Shelley include 110 AFL Fantasy, 16 disposals, 3 marks, 6 tackles, 5 goals, 19 defensive half, 81% in the forward half, 9 score involvement, and a 402 metres game. Well done, Josh Shelley, on your game performance. Now we head back into Melbourne at the MC. We're now back at the MCG once again for Melbourne take on Sydney with a 38,520 packed the MCG. We have a good crowd of 38,520 for the Melbourne Demons in good form, and Sydney aiming to get another win. Can Sydney make this win back? It's the first time even that Sydney Swans return to the MCG. Sydney Swans made back to the MCG first time since 2024 Grand Final. Big road win by Melbourne against Brisbane, the Premiers. Can they go back home and get another win? Let's find out. As well as Sydney, let's also find out. Well, I've got to say, in my notes and one in front of me, 3 quarters played well, then the final quarter Sydney did it all when it wasn't enough. Well, we do have Melbourne and take on St Kilda, which is being held at TIO Cricket Park in Alice Springs. And really, with Sydney, we know who they'll be taking on, the Adelaide Crows, back at home on a Saturday night. Alright, player of the game, Christian Pickett, 126 AFL Fantasy, 24 disposals, 5 goals. Good effort, 25% in defensive half, 75% in the forward half, 13 score involvements, and a 536 metre metres game. Well done, Christian Pickett, on your game performance from the Melbourne midfield star. Final game for Sir Doug Nicholls round for the Indigenous round. And my goodness, St Kilda and Gold Coast, we're back at Marble with a very disappointing crowd, 13,486 packed at Marble Stadium. This has to be another win. St Kilda needs to get back on the win list, or Gold Coast is continuing great form and yet another road win. Here we go. Let's find out. Well, Gold Coast in good form. They wanted to continue on this winning route to bounce the win to win. And St Kilda, they have to find a way to get a win. They had so many opportunities in this game to lead and control it, and that cost them the game, especially in the third quarter. St Kilda had many opportunities, but unfortunately, it was all done and dusted. With Gold Coast taking the win. Well, St Kilda do head take on Melbourne and our screens, which should be a good game to watch. Hoping to see St Kilda to find with another win. But Melbourne is in nicely at this stage of the season, and which they'll do make it halfway through the AFL season. Really, I think it should be a good game between the Demons and the Saints, but I think Melbourne are in good form. They'll take the win. We'll share that very soon. Let's get to the play of the game. Matt Roll from Gold Coast, the midfielder, include 138 for fantasy, 24 disposals, 4 marks, 15 tackles, 57% defensive half, 43% forward half, and 404 metres game. Well done to Matt Roll on your game performance from the Gold Coast midfield star. Done for another year for the 10th year. Well done to who I am going to share I welcome to country. I do have a favourite. We all have favourites for this year, but I am going to share the welcome to country. The best one is Essendon and Richmond. It's one of the best performances I have seen in such a long time. Well, we do have 7 games from 4 games. We'll get back to that thoughts in a minute, but well done on that performance. But now it's time to get the first week of the buys this year, and we have 7 games to share with 4 teams having a buy. First up, it's Brisbane and Essendon on the first day night, which will be held in Brisbane at the Gabba. Going with Brisbane to win this game. Should be a back-to-back win for the mighty Lions, and Essendon will have their moments, but I think Brisbane will just take a nice victory. My crowd attendance is 30,500. Friday night back at the MCG was a 65,000-70,000. My guess of a crowd attendance. Collingwood versus Hawthorn go head-to-head, and should be a good one, but Hawthorn cannot afford another loss, so I think Collingwood will take this win. Next one, we have Super Saturday football. We continue on to 3 games to share, and the first game is Gold Coast versus Fremantle People's First Stadium, Chiefs Giants versus Richmond Tigers, and then the Saturday nights, the Sydney Swans take on the LA Crows. Let's start into the Super Saturday footy for round 12. The first game is Gold Coast and Fremantle. Both teams coming off big wins, but I think it's on the Gold Coast, which they will be in good form. They'll be fired up for both teams, but I think Gold Coast will take the win and they'll do it really, really well. Fremantle will have their moments, as they always do. They tend to play well. Sometimes they do play well on the Gold Coast, but Gold Coast Suns for me was this win. Next up, Chiefs Giants, Richmond Tigers. Well, can Richmond bounce back big time? Having hoped to see some stars back into the lineup. And Chiefs Giants back at home. They will get back-to-back wins. I've chose them. Richmond will have their moments and should be a good contest. Let's get straight into the next game. Alright, to make it to continue on, we do have the Saturday night football, and we do have the Sydney Swans and the LA Crows. 30,000 plus at the SCG. Sydney want to get back onto the winning list once again. Back at home, they're very hard. LA will be tested, but the LA Crows will take this win and they will have some confidence into this as well. Super Sunday football, making it short and sweet. Let's get straight into it. The Super Sunday football for a ticket double header. Melbourne Demons, St Kilda Saints, and West Coast Eagles and Sexy Geelong Cats are the game. And first up, we head to TIO for that's where we are at Trigger Park in Alice Springs for Melbourne Demons take on St Kilda Saints. Not sure where St Kilda are. To make it nice and short, hope to see them a matter win. They're not fun in the heat, which is never fun. Melbourne just loves to continue winning, and the last 5 and 6 games can make them from 6 from 7, which they love coming to Alice Springs and winning games of footy, and it's good for the competition or something like with Melbourne. Well, hope to see that we are a good game to watch. We do come to the final game. We head to the West. Sunday night football here on the Australian football calendar, and we have West Coast taking on the Sydney Geelong Cats. Should not say one way or another, but I think it's going to be. West Coast will have their moments as they did against the LA Crows, but I think Geelong will take control in that second half and take the victory. That's all for the episode 15 of the Aussie Footy Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you love it. That's the important thing. Where you can find it? Well, it's easy. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. That's easy done. Next goal, we have 2,500 I'm aiming to get done. I'm aiming to get this done by early, mid or late June. Okie dokie. All right, thanks for listening. The BJ Show's out. Bye for now. Cheers.